Good afternoon, and welcome to Austin Entertainment Weekly's Broadway Across America podcast. Today, we are going to be talking with Ann Horak, who is playing Roxy Hart in the Broadway Across America national tour of the world famous Chicago. Hi, Ann. How are you today?
Hi, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
We're great. We're so excited to have you come and do the best role ever on Broadway, Roxy Hart. Um,
It is, yeah.
how exciting is it to get to play, the name on everybody's lips?
It's great. I mean, it's definitely been a dream role of mine since I saw the first national tour back in, gosh, I was in grade school. It was probably 97 or somewhere around then. And it's just one of those amazing musical theater roles for women. So it's a complete honor and a dream to be able to play Roxy.
I'm so thrilled. Chicago is probably my number one favorite musical of all time, and
Mm-hmm.
you've got a pretty beefy resume for such a young gal. You've done everything under the sun, and you've played all the great, young, beautiful girl roles. You got to play Elle Woods. You were in two productions of White Christmas. So
Yep.
tell us about that.
Well, White Christmas, yeah, I think I did three productions of it. I played Judy Haynes in a summer stock production at Meet the Theater of Wichita, and I actually made my Broadway debut with the show in, gosh, was that 2008? Playing Rita, which is one of the, Rita Rhoda are two of the kind of comedic sidekicks that chase after Phil Davis. So yeah, I actually I have a history with the show. It's absolutely one of my favorites. And coincidentally, Walter Bobby directed White Christmas, and he also directed Chicago.
Yeah,
So
you're
it's
stealing my
wonderful to be able to
questions.
work with Walter again. He's definitely one of the greats, and he's a fabulous director.
You're just running through all my questions because I was excited to see that you were working with Walter or Bobby again because I know that y'all had worked together on White Christmas. White Christmas
Exactly.
is my favorite Christmas movie of all time, so I was a little excited to
Oh,
see that you were so involved with that show. But
yeah. It's one of my favorite movies too.
you guys are in Fort Lauderdale right now, you said?
We actually just closed in Jackson, Mississippi last night, and we are en route to Lexington, Kentucky.
Fun. So you guys
Yes.
are traveling all over the country. What are some of your favorite places you've gotten to see along the way?
You know what? I'm actually pretty new to the company since Paige did the first month or 5 weeks or so. I just joined the tour in Fort Lauderdale, and then we actually had a 2 week layoff. So this is only my third week really with the tour. So,
Okay.
but it was definitely a treat to be down in Florida. You know, it's always lovely and sunny and warm down there, so that was a treat.
Yes, absolutely, especially compared to New York right now.
That's right. Yes,
And so what are you
it was
looking
nice to
forward
have
to
some
on the
fun in the
tour?
sun. I'm sorry.
What are you looking forward to on the tour?
You know, I did tour once before. I did the national tour of Young Frankenstein in 2009, 2010, and touring is just such a fabulous way to see the country and, you know, see some cities that you might not necessarily ever travel to. I mean, I had never been to Jackson, Mississippi, and I don't know, you know, if something would take me there other than work. So, you know, it's great to just get these paid, you know, you're working so you're getting paid, but you're getting to see, you know, all these great cities across the country and experience, you know, really you get to be a tourist kind of during the day because you're working, you know, for a few hours in the evening, you go and do the show, but you have your daytime free to really, you know, do some fun stuff, see some of the local flavor, maybe go to a, you know, museum or see if, you know, if that city's famous for something. It's fun to be able to experience all these things that, you know, you might not see. So it definitely makes touring special in that way.
I'm jealous of you because I am a big foodie and I would love to get to go to all the different parts of the country and have their local cuisine You know,
Well,
chicken.
that's the thing with Chicago. I mean, it's such a physically active show. I mean, I love a good dinner out too, but when you're doing, such a physically rigorous show, you can't really, and maybe some people do, but at least for me, I can't go and have a big meal before the show. So that's one of the downfalls, I suppose, of Chicago. I mean, I can't go and do the show on a full stomach, but I wish I could.
I'm with you. I can't perform after eating either. But the good thing about Austin is we are an up late city. So even after you get done with the show, you can still grub down on a good meal here in Austin.
Good to know. I'm so looking forward to Austin. I've done shows in Houston and San Antonio, but I've never been to Austin, and everyone says that's just the best place in Texas. So I'm really looking forward to it.
It is a very fun and beautiful city, and y'all are going to be here in what I like to call the middle of our fall, even though it's the start of winter. But it's the perfect, it's in that low 70s, mid 60s during the afternoon. So it's cool enough to be comfortable, but not to really need a heavy sweater. And
that's perfect.
The Lady Bird Lake is a beautiful place to go walk and explore, and there's so much great shopping and food and music and everything here in Austin. So we're excited to have you guys.
Well, we're all looking forward to it.
So what is some of your favorite moments in the show? I mean, it's a show that we all know and love. So of course you have your beautiful moment of being Roxy Hart and singing your namesake song, but you guys have some really awesome other parts that are not often as thought about. So what are your favorites?
Yeah, this is funny, but one of my favorite parts of the show is the press conference rag, when I get to be the dummy that sits on Billy Flynn's lap and he's the ventriloquist. The audience loves that number, and I'm so in character and, trying to pretend like I'm this doll during that number. All of my friends that have seen me do it are like, gosh, that number is so funny, and the audience just goes crazy for it. So that's a really fun one to get to do, and it's such an audience pleaser. So that's really fun. And yeah, of course you mentioned the monologue and Roxy the song. I mean, that's fun because during the monologue, I feel like that's a time where I can really interact with the audience, and you can kind of play with that fourth wall a little bit, because a lot of my responses or a lot of my delivery is based on audience reaction. So that's kind of a fun time because I, vary things a little bit based on how the audience is that particular night or in that particular city. So that's a fun moment for me. And also at the end of the show, I sing a song called Nowadays, and it's just me on stage, and well, I don't want to give away the plot, but it's a really kind of quiet, more reflective, heartfelt song, and I think it's a really honest, special moment for Roxy as well. That's a little bit more, deep and just kind of, it's just a quieter moment where everything is a little bit more, fun and showy and all this stuff and funny. So that is actually a really special and fun moment to play in the show as well, to show a different color of her.
And this is your second time to be involved with Chicago, because you played Mona on Broadway, didn't you?
Yes, I did Mona on Broadway, and I understudied Roxy. And I was going on for Roxy pretty much every Sunday until I started the tour.
Well, that's fun. And how does the show compare? I mean, I know you're new to this tour, but how does the show compare to being in a sit-down theater on Broadway where you have the same space every night, and then on the tour where it variables change and that, and how do you overcome that as a performer?
Well, I think it's more fun almost because, when you're doing the same show every night, it makes it kind of fun and interesting to have a different space. The biggest thing, definitely, I think, between touring and the Broadway house is just the capacity. I mean, I forget how many seats exactly the Ambassador Theater in New York seats, but it's not a huge theater. And, some of these houses are, Some of them are over, I think in Florida it was like 2,700 seats or something like that. So that's a huge difference, you know. And also just the audiences in these different cities. In Florida, they were fantastic, so responsive. But you just have to definitely get used to the vastness of these theaters because they're just much smaller in New York. So I think that's the biggest thing. But I think it's more fun for us. It's not so much an obstacle to overcome. It's more like, oh, well, this is, you know, let's see how this house is or audience or this, you know, how the people are in this theater in this part of the country tonight. So it's kind of more interesting, I would say. But the vastness of it is the biggest difference in the sound and all of that stuff is very, very different on the road than it is in New York.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Bass. I know it has something like 3 balconies. I mean, it's a huge monster of a venue, but I'm confident that you'll be able to belt it out to the top row of the back row and everybody here. The great thing about the Bass, I know, is that there's really no bad seat. Like there's nowhere where you just can't see well or you feel so separated from everything that you're in a different planet. And I've sat in orchestra and I've sat at the back row of the top balcony and seen, you know, lots of different shows, and it's a great place. And I know here in Austin we're looking forward to seeing you guys. Chicago is such a classic, but it's a show that we haven't had anything like in a long time. And so I'm excited to get to have this classic musical theater piece here with us. I mean, we've had a lot of really great shows come through recently, but they've all been that current, you know, jukebox musical, or they've been those really cool, you know, edgy, you know, tough shows. And this is edgy and tough, but it's edgy and tough with that classic mentality of give them a show and give them the old razzle dazzle, to quote
That's
Chicago.
Right. Yep.
Well, Anne, it has been such a pleasure talking with you today, and we look forward to seeing you here in Austin at the Bass Concert Hall in November.